Hi guys, welcome back. This video is going to be a very quick response video to this video that someone actually sent to me via email. They wanted me to do a response on this whole idea of marriage being a business contract, a business deal, right? And I thought it'd be quite interesting because I have something to say about that topic. But before I get into that topic, like I said, it's going to be a really quick video because I'm actually headed to this networking event for television, television and film. But so I have to address some things because some of you guys are really like losing your cool, you guys, over this whole idea of MGTOW and women having their opinion about MGTOW, and some people are on my videos saying go away, and I'm like, this is my channel, but you want me to go away on my channel? Like, it's not gonna happen. And then there's this thing about hit the wall. Now you guys clue me in on this whole idea of what it means to hit the wall, or she's hit the wall. I'm like, what is this about? I don't see that I've hit any wall, but some people like are commenting saying that, and I don't know, it's just a little bit confusing to me. I guess it's a symbolic saying. It has a symbolic meaning. But what that means, I'm clueless. So you guys fill me in on that. What does it mean, hit the wall? And then there's this notion, okay, interesting enough, I'm at this part, and when I go do a video, everybody wants to have their debut in my video, but like I said, it's going to be real quick. So, some people are under the assumption that, oh, women, okay, this is a few assumptions that have been made, and I have to address this. Some people are under the assumption that somehow women are going to, like, die, or I don't know, like we're just going to, something bad is going to happen to us because these MGTOW men are withdrawing their resources, right? And I'm like, I get that your response to feminism is that you want to turn against women, right? You want to, and a formal way of you doing that is basically pulling out your resources, I guess, not taking care of women or whatever. And I'm trying to figure out, to me it's kind of confusing in a way, because it's like, okay, on one hand you are kind of protesting against this idea that women are independent, we're self-sufficient, but then you're like, you're gonna pull your resources away. Like, to me that doesn't, how does that make sense, you guys? If women are self-sufficient, right, you're mad at women because we're self-sufficient, we are educated, we have incomes just as equal or probably even higher than men, yet you say you're going to pull your resources away. What resources? If women are self-sufficient, what resources are you pulling away? How is that going to impact women, or the women that you would have potentially dated or married? How is that going to impact women in that way if women can take care of themselves? Like, I don't know. It's just confusing because I've kind of gotten those comments on my video, like, oh, we're going to, pull our resources and women can no longer feed off of us and survive off of us. And I'm like, okay, I thought that you guys were creating MGTOW in response to women being independent. So what is it? Like, okay, what is it? You're mad that women are becoming independent, but then you say you're gonna pull your resources. So wouldn't pulling your resources, even if let's say the women, because not every woman necessarily is completely independent of a man, but wouldn't, okay, if you pull your resources, wouldn't that force women to become more independent? So you guys help me understand this, because it doesn't make sense. And you guys are saying like, oh, it's not supposed to make sense. Oh, yes, it does. How is it not supposed to make sense? So a woman can't understand this philosophy. There's a squirrel there. The squirrels know I don't like them, but they've been trying to come next to me. But it makes no sense. So explain that to me, man. And then another thing is that this whole assumption that women, because these MGTOW men, which I already said, I think make up a very small percentage of the population, especially in the U.S., like you guys are a minority group, that you somehow think that in going your own way, that is going to impact a woman's viability in the dating market. Like, I'm confused with that. I'm really confused. Now, I do think that, yes, it impacts men and women's relations, but men are still hitting on women. Like, I get hit on constantly, daily. I don't have an issue with that. I have options. Like, I think my issue is having too many options, where I have several different men who are interested in me. It's just like, okay, which one should I go with, to the point where I'm like, I'm considering polyandry. So it's not an issue of, oh, there's a scarcity of men who are available and who are, sorry guys, text message, but who are available and who are, you know, certain prospects are available prospects for women like myself. Speaking of, like, 2 text messages back to back. But anyway, yeah, I don't think that's the issue. I mean, women, I don't think we've never really struggled necessarily in that department when it comes to, or a man being interested in us or wanting to be involved in a relationship. It's a matter of, like, making sure, like, a woman chooses the right guy, like, for a long-term commitment. So I'm a little bit confused about that, but let me go ahead and get into the topic of why I create this video. So in response to, because I created 2 MGTOW videos, right? Probably within the past, I don't know, 2 weeks, I think it's been, and people have been commenting, wanting me to say more about this. Some people comment publicly, some people comment, you know, privately via email. They message me directly and they say, well, I would like to see you talk about this. So one of the emails that I received was from this guy who says that he wants me to talk about this video where another guy created, and he emailed me the link. I didn't watch it in its entirety, but I kind of like skimmed through it to get the gist of what he was talking about. And basically in the video, he's saying that marriage is a business, and that men should take the love out of marriage, because people don't really get married for love. They get married for, I guess, financial gain, right? Because it's a business. And I'm like, interesting. And in response to my other 2 MGTOW videos, I find it interesting how some people have said that it's not about race. Okay, my camera is skipping. But it said that it's not about race, right? And they like, leave race out of it. It has nothing to do with race. I'm like, no, it has everything to do with race. Anytime you're talking about human relations, race is a factor. And when you're talking about men and women, men and women's relations, right? And this whole idea of men going their own way, and this is the reasons why, and it sounds like financial reasons primarily. I mean, we look at the divorce rate. This has been a constant in our country. I remember when I was an undergraduate student at Florida State University, way back in the day. I graduated class of 2006, but I remember for my research thesis project, it was on marital separation and divorce. And the statistic back then was that 1 out of every 2 marriages end in divorce. When you fast forward to today, 2019, it hasn't changed much. So nearly over 50% of marriages end in divorce. And when you look at the reason why, most people say it's attributed to financial reasons. I think we both have to be independent, but when it comes to relationships, we should know that we'll have a role to play. I think we're interdependent when it comes to relationships. That's the whole point of relationships. We're not independent, we're interdependent. Even as a society, we are interdependent. Although we are just different cultures, we're made up of different cultures and different races, right, and ethnic groups. As a society, we're all interdependent upon each other. Can't get away from that reality. But about the marital divorce rate, it has been pretty much consistent over the past decade and a half. And the reason has been attributed to financial reasons, you know. So when you think about that whole topic of marriage being a business arrangement, I mean, it is. That's what it's about. It's about how you're going to manage the finances, especially in the case of a divorce, you know. It sets legal stipulations surrounding the couple involved in the marriage. And it's interesting. I have to really be quick about this because I do have to get ready to go. But it's interesting to see how so distracted by all of this stuff going on. But in terms of, you know, marriage and this whole idea about, what was I about to say, you guys? That's a cue for me to probably end this video. But yes, marriage is a business deal. It's a business. Oh, I know what I was going to say. So it's interesting when I think about that in relation to this whole idea about polyandry and how it's illegal. Like, it's illegal for a man or a woman to marry more than one partner in the U.S. I think that makes complete sense in that context when you think about finances, because on one hand, it can be a great thing, it can be a powerful thing if the government allowed people to marry more than one person in terms of building financial wealth. We're talking about more than one person, people coming together to pool their resources together to expand their wealth, to expand their financial base. It makes a huge difference. And especially in the context of immigration, when you think about when you bring in immigration, right, to this whole conversation of polyandry, it makes sense that you only can marry one person at a time for political reasons. That's all I'm going to say on that. But the person who emailed me this, and I'm about to wrap it up, the person who emailed me this link to watch this video, he just wanted to see like my perspective on it, wanted to see what is my idea in relation to this video that was made on marriage being a business deal. And essentially, I find it to be interesting because I think he sent me the link because I think he kind of assumed that maybe I would disagree, right? Because it kind of what the guy is saying in the video is basically in alignment with the whole MGTOW philosophy, right? Men going their own way, and why marriage is not necessarily a favorable thing for men. That men should protect their finances, protect themselves from being sucked dry in a marriage, basically. So here is my perspective on that in a nutshell. I myself, of course, I value the union of marriage. I think it's a beautiful thing. But I'm even asked when it comes to my perspective on polyandry. And you guys, okay, there's polygamy. I have to break it down because some of you guys watching probably don't even know what I'm talking about. Okay, there's polygamy. There's two forms of polygamy, two main forms. There's polygyny, which involves my phone breaking up. It's polygyny, which involves one man and multiple wives, and then there's polyandry, which involves one wife and multiple husbands. And so, with respect to my view on that, and people ask me all the time, well, how is that going to work considering that polyandry is illegal, or polygamy is illegal in this country? You can't marry more than one person. And I'm thinking, marriage, we have this definition, this general traditional definition or understanding of what we believe marriage to be. And usually it involves getting the court involved, you know, going down there, filing the paperwork, and going through that whole legal process, right? And I think, I don't have anything necessarily opposed. I'm not opposed to that. I'm not really necessarily against that. I do have some reservations about it, you know, and I think that I encourage people to be very careful. And because it is a business deal, I agree with what the guy said in that video about marriage being a business. It is. And if you don't understand that it's a business deal, you can end up fucked up. Like, you have to protect, yes, your finances. And considering that it's a business deal, like I tell people when we're talking about polyandry and marriage, when you're going, it's like going into a partnership, basically. So for some people who are trying to understand what is marriage and what's involved in it, it's like, yeah, going into a partnership. If you are a business, if you're an entrepreneur, a lot of you guys can relate to this. Like, you have to be super duper careful when forming a partnership with another entrepreneur or business owner. You know, and there are certain things that have to be laid out and made clear in the contract about how the finances will be split. while you're in operation, even if the partnership comes to a dissolution, it dissolves. It basically you have to have that in place, basically, to protect each party that's involved legally. So yes, in that respect, it is a business deal. In marriage, it's the same thing. You do have to be careful. But I would like to say more, you guys. I want to hear what you guys have to say. I do have to go because I'm being very mindful of the time. I'm headed to this networking event for television. It's all about, I'm out here in Hollywood, by the way, but yeah. So I will catch you guys later, and it's a beautiful day out here. I can appreciate the weather out here in California. But on that note, I gotta go. I will catch you guys later. Feel free to drop your comments below and let us know what you guys think. And for the MGTOW people, y'all need to chill the hell out. Like, for y'all to assume that I'm gonna go somewhere when I've been vlogging for several years and I have something to say with regard to MGTOW. Nobody is out to do anything. Y'all can live y'all life. Nobody ain't out here trying to stop what y'all doing. Continue to go your own way. And women, like myself, we're going to continue to do what we do. Like, it's not that serious. It's a business for a man or the woman, which is which. Oh, it's a business for both. You have to look at it as a business deal to protect yourself. But, I know, I'm glad you mentioned that about the man and the woman thing, because this is where race comes into play when it comes to, men getting the short end of the stick. And I have to say that, like, when you think about the numbers, for the most part, I can understand from a white man's perspective why he feel like he may get the short end of the stick, because a lot of white men do take care, like, they contribute more to the household financially than the woman does when it comes to marriage within a white household. This is okay, generally speaking, we know not every single white person falls under this, whereas within black households, it looks a little bit different. The finances are split a little bit different, so it makes sense, especially considering that white men are the highest earners, the demographic, in terms of demographic, highest earners demographic in the U.S. After that are white women, then black women, and then black men. So black women out-earn black men in American society. So to say that, men as a whole, irrespective of race, get left with the short end of the stick, I don't know. You have to break it down by race. There's a reason why when we discuss different issues like this that impact, people altogether, things are broken down by race, because it varies according to the racial and ethnic group. But hey, I do gotta go. I'll catch you guys later. Love you guys. Bye.